Lesson 6, the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula, simply look at me or listen to me. Use this when you can't factor. Okay? Quadratic formula is used when you can't factor to get the zeros. So if you're saying, how's the calculator get those decimals? They're essentially doing the quadratic formula for you. Now the other piece of this is, the quadratic formula actually works all the time. So let's say you're trying to factor something, you're just not getting the combination. You can use quadratic formula, it'll still kick out the answers. Okay? So for example, if I did quadratic formula on something that was factorable but didn't think it was, what type of answers would I get? Not the same, you're close. You'd get like whole numbers, right? You get like 3 and 5, or 1/2 and 2/3. Like you get numbers that are not 1.26, okay, stuff like that, okay? So in general though, quadratic formula is our tool when we can't factor, we can't figure it out with factoring, okay? So we're going to get to that now, they're going to talk about that. So roots of the quadratic equation by inspection and by decomposition. So find the roots by inspection here. So -18 and 7. Is there any factors in -18 that gets me 7? Okay, +9, -2. So we could factor that one, so we're good. Your solutions are -9 and 2. Okay, very good. Okay. That one's no problem here. So look at B now. So B, we're doing decomposition now. We have to do decomposition because there's a number in front. 6 times -12 is -72. Factors of -72 that are 1 apart, -9 and 8. So we got 6x squared minus 9x plus 8x minus 12. Going to do our grouping now. 6 and 9, x and x, so 3x gives me 2x minus 3. I got a 4 in common. That gives me a 2x minus 3. So this one does factor nicely. 3x plus 4, 2x minus 3. So my solutions or my roots are -4/3 and 3/2. Remember, minus the 4, divide the 3. Add the 3, divide the 2. That's how I got these numbers here, if you're not with me. Okay. Okay, so C, is it possible to solve the quadratic equation? So now they're asking, is it possible to solve this one? So if we look at it, 2 times 5 is 10. There's no factors of 10 that get me -8. Okay, because they both have to be negative, right? See how it's a positive, that's a negative? That means this would be minus minus. My only options for 10 are -10, -1, -2, -5. So that's -11 and -7. Okay, so in this case, it's not factorable. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so since it's not factorable, that's where today comes in. That's where we use quadratic formula. And you guys are going to be superstars today because not very many people can prove the quadratic formula. We're going to do that today. Okay, yeah. See, look. Just for you. Yeah, just for you, Park. Yeah, going to get crazy. Okay, we're doing it because Britton said he wanted to know. Right? Yeah, Britton. Yep, you. Okay. Yep, there we go. All right, so over here on the right, it's saying solve by completing the square. So what we're going to figure out today is that we've already done a little bit of solving by completing the square. We did a little bit before on the complete the square day. We're going to show how the quadratic formulas came from that. Okay, so this right here is actually going to prove the quadratic formula. Let's just do a basic example, and then we'll do this one together. Okay, so this one here, we're going to solve by completing the square. So what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square and get it to standard form. And then we're going to solve. Okay, so watch. So complete the square. 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull the 2 out, right? 2x squared minus 8x plus box plus the 5 equals 0. – Pull Now we're here. Doing the warm-up right now. Half of -4 is -2. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, so we're going to minus 8 to the 5. Now, shrinks down to this. 2 times x minus 2 squared. 5 minus 8 is -3, equals 0. So we just did the complete the square step. Now the solving from this, we're just solving for x now. So you would just do what you'd normally do to solve for x. Okay, so what would you do first to solve for x? Yep, it's 0. Yep, it's there. That's right. So add the 3. Divide the 2. Square root both sides, yep. Remember, when you square root, it's plus or minus. And add the 2. Yep. There it is. X equals 2 plus or minus root 3 over 2. So we just kept on going there. So good question. Yeah, we don't have the FOIL because we're actually getting rid of the square. Okay. Divide the 2. Square rooted. Remember, square root gets rid of the square. Okay. Plus or minus the 3/2, the root of it. So guys, this right here is a value. 2 plus or minus root 3 over 2. Okay, that's a value. That's solving. So why? Because if I try to do this with decomp, which is the one right above, isn't it? Yeah, this is the one from our part C. That problem is, you'll see that it wasn't factorable, right? And so when you do this, 2 plus root 3 over 2 is going to be a decimal. It's not going to be nice. Okay, so that's what we just did. Okay, any questions? All right, get your thinking cap on. It's going to get a little crazy here. Okay, so probably going to need all this space. So now we're doing it without knowing the numbers. So we're doing all the steps that we would do, but we have to keep doing the steps not knowing what the numbers are. So that's how you that's how you do definitions of math. You do definitions based on numbers that you don't know what they are, because the steps you're doing will be the same no matter what you do it to. Okay? So if I'm doing this problem now, what will we do first? Think about what we did here. We're solving by completing the square. Write it with the box. Ax squared plus bx plus box plus c. Good. What was my second step? Take out the a. Good, Joel. So take the a out. Now, what's weird is, well, what's b divided by a? You're right, we don't know, so we have to write b divided by a. b over ax what's that? B over ax. Sorry, say that again.
Why is it not bx?
Bx over a is the same thing. B over ax and bx over a is the same. What do we do now? No? Divide by 2. So the b over a gets divided by 2. So what would that be? So b over a divided by 2 would be b over 2a. Right? It's like 1/2 of it. Yep, now we have to square that. B squared over, yep, b squared over 4a squared. Good. I'm going to need a bigger box, yeah? Okay, so let's get rid of that. We'll just write it in here. Okay. B squared over 4a squared. I'm going to, yeah. We'll move it. So that's what we put here. And so what they're saying is, don't we have times by a? Yep, this has to be times here and then minus here. So it's going to be negative ab squared over 4a squared. See how it's getting crazy? All these variables. Say it again. Yeah, how they move up top. Because remember, we have to multiply this by what we pull out. So the a goes to the top. Yeah, because it's a over 1. Yep, this is all good questions, guys. This is hard. Okay. Okay, we will simplify this because see, there's an a here and a here. So we will simplify that in the next step here. So it's going to be a times x plus b over 2a squared plus c minus, I'm going to simplify the a's like I said, b squared over 4a equals 0. Okay, yeah, we're going to move these two over, right? Add the b squared over 4a minus the c. Okay, so equals. I'm just switching the order to the positive ones first. Okay, it doesn't matter. You can write negative c plus b squared over a is fine. Okay, so for this problem, which makes things a little bit easier is we'd like to go ahead and get these to be one fraction, so we're not dealing with two numbers. How can I do that? Right, so it'll be c over 1, and so then if it's c over 1, what do I want to be on the bottom? 4a, right? Since that's c over 1, I want it to be 4a. So we're going to go 4a, 4a, and that gets you 4ac over 4a. So that's what the c is. Right, so now I'm going to rewrite it like this. It's okay, I can take questions, guys, it's fine. So b squared minus 4ac. So this is where we're at. B squared minus 4ac all over 4a. The 40, there shouldn't be a 40. That's an a. 4a. No, this will not be on tomorrow's quiz. Only lesson 4 tomorrow. This will be on the next quiz, though. I'm just kidding. 27. No, I don't know. C. C. Oh, yes. No, this is already simplified. It's right here. The A is canceled already. Yeah, I already canceled this. Okay, anything else? We're almost done, actually. Divide by A, and so where does that go? Yep, underneath. So it gets right there. So it's 4a squared times the a that's already there. So it's underneath. I'm going to come up here. Okay, so it's going to be x plus b over 2a squared equals b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. Now what do we do?
Radical square thing.
Good? You guys are killing it. Okay, so b squared minus 4ac. Remember with the minus signs we messed up in solving radicals? You can't do them separately, right? That's just going to stay. So I'm saying is when you square root top and bottom. The top we can't do anything with, so we leave it a square root. The bottom is a product, so we can do it. What's the square root of 4? What's the square root of a squared? Right, so 2a is the bottom now. Remember, we square rooted, so it's plus or minus. And we're almost there. You're going to like that 2a because look what I'm going to do. I'm going to minus b over 2a. Oh, yeah. It's already a common denominator. So, congratulations, you've made it. You proved the quadratic formula. See how they're the same? We'll write them as 1, and you're done. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. They have little songs on YouTube if you want to watch about it. I think it's kind of annoying, but you can go ahead and watch them if you want. Oh, yeah. Negative b plus or minus square root 2a. That's right. That is exactly. We just proved the quadratic formula. What's that? You mean on the other side? Yeah. Yeah. It's right here. I put it in front because that's how the formula is written. You can put it in the back if you want. But see how it's negative b over 2a? I just put it in front.
So where did the bottom 2a?
Good. They're common denominators, right? Right. 2/3 minus 1/3 is 1/3, right? Since they're common denominators. That's why I said the 2.
You're just adding the negative b.
Right. You essentially just slide the negative b on there. Okay, so you proved it. Congratulations. Okay, that's the quadratic formula. So, great question. Brett asked, what is that? Well, that's the quadratic formula. We just proved, because, guys, we just did this problem in part A, right? Let's stay on point.
How do you mark?
Okay. Well, yeah, you're proving it, so that's not really a question. So, right here, 2x squared minus 8x plus 5. We already did this, right? And we got a number solution. This is the formula to get that solution. You did it with variables that now you can plug it in here, and every time you get the same answer. So you don't need to complete the square and solve like that all the time because the quadratic formula is set up for you to do that. Now that you know where it comes from, you can use it. It's that type of deal. Use it to prove it, right? Prove it to use it, I mean. Okay? So here's where we're going with that. From what Brett said, how do you mark that? Well, we don't have to mark that. This you need to know, but that's also in your formula sheet. You don't have to memorize it. Okay? If you're wondering, what do I have to memorize? Anything that's not on the back page of your book, you aren't given. Okay? So that back cardboard page has formulas on it. So whatever's on that back page, you get. Okay? So what's important is this. What's the B's, A's, and C's now? Well, that's A, that's B, that's C. So that's what you plug in for A, B, and C to go ahead and calculate. Okay? So now you can see, why do we do radicals first? Because you have to use a radical. We need to know how to simplify radicals. Okay? All right. So, long story short, we are now in a position to use the quadratic formula. Okay? Any questions before we start using the quadratic formula? Exactly. Yep. Okay, let's do the first one here. The formulas in the back of the book are the ones that you'll be given on exams. Anything outside of that sheet, you need to know. Okay, so negative b, negative 2, plus or minus square root, b squared, 2 squared, 4, minus 4. It's always a 4. A, which is a 1 because nothing's there. C is a negative 1. This is where all the mistakes happen. This minus a minus, make sure you see that. Change it to a plus, right? Negative 4 and a negative 1, this all things going to be a positive. So there is the first one. Now it's a matter of simplifying. Okay, I know you're overwhelmed, all those letters and stuff, your head's spinning. Let's bring it back to earth a bit. We're going to do these 3 problems, so just relax. Okay, this one. Now you got to simplify in here. So it's negative 2 plus or minus 4. Again, a negative 4 times a 1 times a negative 1 is a positive 4. So that's square root 8 all over 2. Now, who remembers what this means? That's from Unit 1. Thank you. What does exact value mean, Pearl? Yep. Okay, so yeah, so you have to break the radical down, is what Gavin's saying. But short story is, if you put a decimal down, when it says exact, you're wrong. Okay, exact cannot be rounded. Yeah, if you round something for exact value, you're incorrect. So it's like 2/3. If you write 2/3 as 0.6, that's incorrect. Okay, it's 0.6 repeating, which you can't write either. It wants it in fraction form. Okay, so what Gavin was saying is, we already learned radicals, so 8 we're breaking down to 4 times 2. The 4 comes out as a 2, so then this is negative 2 plus or minus 2 root 2, a lot of 2's, all over 2. Just how you wanted it, very simple, all the same. And so the 2, this 2 divides here. It doesn't divide to the radical, right? So that your answer is negative 1 plus or minus root 2. There's a 1 here. You don't write it, though. Negative 2 over 2, negative 1. 2 over 2 is a 1 root 2, so that's a 1 root 2. That's exact form. Yeah. Now we're done, yeah. But if you have to solve by completing the square root, Lucas, it's going to be harder because you're going farther. You'll end up getting the same numbers. Okay, next one, B. Okay, I'll do C. I'll let you guys try B. So C, 3 times 4x, 3 times 5, that's 12x and 15. And then I want to move those over on the same side so I can see what my A, B, and C is. So there. Now I have my A, B, and C equals to 0. Yeah, so I distributed. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. Whoops, that's my fault. 15. 15. Yep, and then moved all over. Now we have our A is 4, our B is negative 12, and our C is negative 15. So when it says negative B, what do I put? Positive 12. Okay, so I'll just do it over here since I have room. Because we move them over. Yeah, because they're on the other side. Yep, all good questions. So I like, good job. Plus or minus square root of negative 12 squared, which is 144. Remember, your B squared is going to be positive every time. Minus 4 times negative 15. So again, I got that negative, negative. That's going to be a positive there. All over 2 times 4. All right, so let's see here. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 15. What's that? I was just doing this right here. 4 times 4 is 16 times 15. Yeah, I'm doing C. So I said I'm doing C. I'll let you guys try B. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're doing C right now because I'm going to have you guys try B on your own. C need a little bit more work. Okay, so 16 times 15. 240, thank you. So 144 plus 240 is, what's that, 384? Yeah? Okay, 384 all over 8. Now we got to break 384 down. So I would try a 16, I'd try an 8. Let's see here. 16 times 24. So that means there's a bigger one, huh? So I have, let's see here, 64. 64 and 6, yeah, that's our best one. Now, if you did 16 and 24, you could still get there. It's just an extra step. Because you know that 24 has something in it. So it's 64 and 6 was the best bet. So that gives me 12 plus or minus 8 root 6 over 8. And now we can simplify it. 12 over 8 is 3 over 2. Plus or minus, these cancel, root 6. 3 halves plus or minus root 6 is your best way of writing that. You also can write it like, say that again? The 12, because it's opposite of B, and B is negative. Right, because B is a negative 12 and it wants opposite of that. So good point, Spooner. That doesn't mean negative, that means opposite. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you can write it like this, or you can also write it like this. You can write it like that as well. Okay, what were you saying, Woodsky? Yeah, I just read that opposite of B. So whatever B is, you put the opposite. Right, so if it's negative 12, you put positive 12. Okay, you guys try B. I'll pause the video. Try B, see how far you can get. Okay. All right, good. So again, identifying your letters is the first step. Some of you guys messed that up to start, but that's okay. Comes with practice. Opposite of B is a positive 12. So we're going to put positive 12 first. Plus or minus B squared. So 144 minus 4 times. Okay, like that. All over 2 times 4. Plugging it in right's the first step. So in here, you see that that's going to be minus. Okay, so 16 times 3 is 48. 144 minus 48 is the 96. Like that. 96 should look familiar. That's the 16 times 6. 12 plus or minus 4 root 6 over 8. And Kayla asked me, I just don't know what to do from right here. Now, that's fair, because it looks like you're done. You are, but they're going to go ahead and simplify when they can. Now, the key thing is to understand that this number down here does not affect the radical at all. It's the stuff in front of the radical and in front of the plus or minus. Now, you can even write this. If it bothers you, you can write it like this. You can break it up if you want. That doesn't bother me. It's up to you. So you maybe see a little better. Okay, but 12 over 8 is 3 over 2. 4 over 8 is 1 over 2. And you have a root 6. That's your simplified exact answer. Okay? If you're not quite there yet, guess what? We've only done 2 real examples. Okay? So if you're not quite there yet, that's fine. But I'd suggest doing the practice problems. Okay? Make sure you get that down. Okay, we got one more here, and then we'll be done with the video. Okay, so this one, find the zeros of the quadratic function negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. Give answers as exact values and to the nearest hundred. So it wants the exact form and then wants you to calculate it. Okay, so then you're going to get the actual decimal. Okay, and I think that's actually what I asked us to do in the previous one, but we'll actually do it this time. Okay, so here we go. Can't factor it, so negative b, negative 4, plus or minus b squared, 16, minus 4 times negative 3 times 1, all over 2 times negative 3. It's all right. I've done this a few times. Next, it's got to simplify into the radical first. I do see the negative there. It's going to be 16 plus 12 in there, so that's 28. And I'm going to be over a negative 6. The 28's 4 and 7. Okay. Don't worry about the negatives too much, because see how it's plus or minus? It doesn't really, there's nothing going to cancel there because it's the flip, so it's kind of weird. Just worry about the 2 and the 6, what's in common. But here we can cancel the negative. So again, you can write it separate if you want, if that helps you. It'd be negative 4 over negative 6 plus or minus 2 over negative 6 root 7, which if you wrote that simplified, it'd be 2/3 plus or minus 1/3. Like I said, you don't have to write the negative 1/3. You can if you want. It's not going to do anything. The reason it's not going to do anything, guys, is because if I don't put it, I'm going to do it again. If I do put it, I'm going to do it the first time. So you'll get the same answers. So there's your exact form. Now we need to calculate that. So I'm going to bring up the calculator here. I'm going to calculate it for you. So brackets are helpful here. So 2/3 plus or minus. I got it right here, I think. Yeah. Okay. So how are you doing your calculator? We're going to go 2/3. So I go bracket 2 divided by 3. I do the plus. And I'll show you a trick here, too, that helps things go a little faster. And then it's going to be 1. You can put the 1 there so you see it, but you don't really have to. Second square root 7 divided by 3. Okay, so then you hit enter. So your first answer is 1.55 because it says nearest hundredth. So that's an 8, so I go to 1.55. Okay, now here's a trick with that TI-83 you guys have, okay? Hit second entry. It repeats it. We just need to change what? The plus to minus. There's your two solutions. Second enter. Yes. Okay, that's your solution. Again, yeah, nearest hundredths, this would be 0.22, negative 0.22. Again, this means, please don't forget what we're figuring out. These are the roots. These are the x-intercepts. So that graph we just did was a negative parabola, so it's going down. And so that means it's doing something like this. Like right there is 1.5, there's negative 0.22. That's where it's crossing. Okay? Is everybody clear with that? Okay, cool. 1's the y-intercept. All right. Good work. Okay, that's all we got for today.